A very good morning. Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Early Edge brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. We are coming off a pretty nice Monday. Let's take a look at the recap screen before we bring in the stars of the show. Mackenzie Brooks, 2 for 2. SportsLine picks, 2 for 2. Between Mike and Larry, 1 for 2, with Mike hitting that Rutgers team total under 77.5. That Commanders first half plus 3.5 that a couple of the books were hanging up there. It's long gone. So we call it the early edge for a reason. If you were watching the show yesterday, you definitely got that line. If you waited an hour or two to put it in, that first half play is long gone. But we'll see how that one pans out. Just because we got closing line value doesn't mean we hit the bet. I see Chris Kish, Emmanuel, Big Cheesy, CLE fan, KC3, Suki, Mark Buckholtz in the chat. Chris Kish, if I might have said you twice. Either way, let's bring in the stars of the show. We have a great lineup for you today. We got buckets. We got Tom Casale, and a face I have missed for quite some time. I feel like we need to have Tim Doyle on the show with you, Mikey B. But either way, very happy to see you. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. Good thing Tim is not on with me because I don't have any props. I don't want to be embarrassed. We all know Tim is the king of the props. But it's great to be back on. Happy to be talking NBA with you guys.
I was just going to ask, for those that are uninitiated, maybe those that are new to the early edge, you are our NBA guy, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, off to a pretty good start. I think I'm 71-49 over my last 120 picks this season. So we're off to a good start. Try and keep it rolling.
That's a lot of picks on a season that's not very old. Buckets, how you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm pretty sick today. I'm a little bit under the weather, but I got some extra medicine. Seeing Mikey be back on the show always brings me a little bit of joy. So I'm hoping that can kind of carry me through the show here.
Well, we got a lot of extra medicine yesterday, seeing the 2-0 recap screen from Friday. You delivered on Friday, so, I mean, you weren't here yesterday, so I got to give you your props there. Tom Casale, how you doing? I know you're gearing up for college football. I know you're watching the NFL as well, but you got a college basketball pick today. What are you focused on this week?
Yeah, same old thing, college basketball, college football, only a couple of games left in college football. I think we have a nice edge in one of them, though. And then, hey, NFL playoffs, player props still going. It never ends. But I'll definitely be checking out some of Mikey's NBA picks. That's that league isn't my strength. And what's he got, 120 already? Not messing around over there.
I know. He is firing away and has a winning record all the while. Tom, I will say to everybody that, has CBS Sports Network, which is pretty much all of you, check us out at 12 o'clock today because Tom is going to be on with me. Mackenzie Brooks, Eric Casillas, a number of the Early Edge family is going to be on the Early Edge 12 o'clock edition on CBS Sports Network. So catch that. A lot of college football talk on that show as well. You'll hear more college football later on this show, later on this week. But Tom, start us off with some college basketball. We got a game at 10 o'clock tonight. So we're going to close the slate with a W, correct?
Yeah, I hope so. It's UCLA, Michigan. I gave out UCLA -2. That lines up to 3.5. I would try to get that 3 or under. If you can't, maybe, I like Florida too. So maybe a money line with UCLA and Florida. I like both teams to win. The reason I don't want to take UCLA too high is they don't shoot foul shots well. And when you're not good from the free throw line, sometimes at the end of the game when teams are making threes, that number is important. So this is I think it's a bad spot for Michigan. They're making their second West Coast trip in a row. They went to USC over the weekend. Now they're going to UCLA. UCLA coming back from a loss to Nebraska. Eric Daly didn't play in that game. It's I think it was a one game thing. It sounds like he's going to be back tonight. Defensively, Michigan sloppy with the basketball. UCLA, the top team in the country in turnover percentage. This to me just seems like Michigan's been good. They've won on neutral courts, but this is their toughest test on the road this year. I think UCLA gets them. I think their defense too tough for Michigan. Good game, but UCLA covers a small number.
All right. UCLA covers the small number. We got a comment from B Mills here. This is why you need the SportsLine subscription. Got Tom's number right when he posted. I mean, we say it almost every show, but it really is important. And I believe most of you that are watching or even listening to the podcast are SportsLine members because it's so inexpensive to get all of these picks and models and Mike McClure's simulations across all sports. If for some reason you're not a member, sportsline.com/join. All you got to do is type in the promo code winners. When you go to sportsline.com/join, if you type in the promo code winners, you get 60% off the annual plan. That's 60, not 16. 60% off the annual plan if you type in the promo code winners. Again, scan that QR code right in front of you. Or if you're listening, go to sportsline.com/join B-Mills. Thanks for the shout out there. There's also a shout out going on for Buckets. Somebody was acknowledging, CLE fan says, love the shirt, Buckets. I don't, what is that shirt? I don't recognize.
Oh, it's Jeff the Land Shark from the Marvel universe. Sia, it's a popular series, a popular show, popular character, which means you've never heard of them before. So we can just move on from that.
How could I miss Jeff the Land Shark, Loan Shark, whatever it is? Either way, probably Loan Shark on this show. Let's talk Buckets about some soccer picks. We move on from college basketball. I believe you have 2 picks here with teams I can pronounce the names of. Go.
I do, absolutely, Sia. Wanted to make it easy for everyone here today, but this actually is still a bit tricky because today is cup games, which means we've got some teams that care, some teams that don't care, some teams that genuinely have said, we don't want to be here, but we're stuck. It can be very tricky to bet on these games, but we're still going to do it starting in the Copa del Rey with a matchup between El Dance taking on Valencia. Two Spanish sides that are doing horrible in their respective leagues right now. El Dance is 19th in La Liga 2. Valencia is 19th in La Liga. And both teams, frankly, don't want to be in this competition because both teams need to focus on avoiding relegation, which means both teams are going to rotate their squads and play a lot of backups, which means one of 2 things is going to happen. This game is going to end 0-0 without a single shot on target, and we're all about to waste 90 minutes of our lives, or we're going to see a bunch of these younger players, some of these kids that want to prove themselves, show up and have a good game here. And I think we get the second one. I love both teams to score, Sia, at plus 100 because these backups do have so much to play for, and because these teams are so horrid defensively. Love goals in this first matchup. Then for our second one, we go to the Belgian Cup between STVV taking on Gunk. I don't know how to say it. I'm not like I do know how to say it. All I know about Gunk is that they are the way better team. And even if they play their backups here, their backups are good enough to beat STVV's first team. Gunk is top of the Belgian Jupiler League. They have 40 goals scored in their 20 matches played. STVV isn't worried about the Belgian Cup because they're worried about relegation. 14th out of 16 teams and the second worst defensive record in all of Belgium. I love Genk over 1.5 team total at minus 110.
All right. Again, names I can pronounce. Brad Betts Footy says, assume Buckets is going to St. Trude. I guess that's STVV versus Genk. So good guess, Brad Betts. Let's see. There was a comment. I don't know if it was from KC3. Eric David says, OMG, I've missed Mikey B. Someone just said Tom is the best. Love to see that. That was from Scott. But I should mention the Discord. Obviously, if you are a SportsLine member, you know you have access to our SportsLine Discord for free. There's a lot of expert chats in there, but you can drop into any of the channels, drop a question, and it's likely to be answered by one of us or somebody that's in the chat that's part of this crew that is in this chat right now, like Gipper's picks, for example. Super sharp. He's dropping some UFC picks in here, but he's educated on all the sports, and we're dropping all kinds of props and bets in there. Buckets, go ahead.
Real quick for the Discord, speaking of B. Mills earlier, him and I have been in the Discord soccer channel already this morning discussing the Portuguese Cup game between Sporting and Porto. So more insight on that match as well in the Discord.
All right. Big Cheesy, also, I believe, active in the Discord. He's got a soccer bet out here. Club Bruges versus Leuven, both teams to score. I think he had a Tyler Hero one yesterday that cashed. So really good stuff. By the way, Buckets, any thoughts on Big Cheesy's call right here?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. It's another cup game, so it's going to be a little tricky, but Brugge is good enough to rotate again. I think we see goals in that one.
All right. David Talk says a lot of free picks in Discord. All right. Speaking of promoting things, BetMGM has a new promo that you have yet to hear. So dial in because it pertains to football and these playoffs that are coming up. Bet on a player to find the end zone and win a share of $250,000 in bonus bets if they end up scoring the longest touchdown of the week. A touchdown is always 6 points, but the longest one could mean you get $250,000 in bonus bets. Wager on any player to score during a game. If your pick has the longest touchdown of the week, you'll win big time bonus bets on top of your wager. Here's how it works. Opt in to the longest touchdown jackpot promotion. Place a $10 plus anytime touchdown wager up to one eligible bet per game. If your player scores the longest touchdown of the week, you'll win a share of $250,000 in bonus bets. I've already got a few names in mind for this wild card weekend, if I'm being honest. We got to get to some more picks, though, and we're going to do it right after this message from our partners.
We need your sports news anywhere.
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
All right, we're back, and I've got a couple of picks to give out. One of them is mine, and one of them is a SportsLine pick. And then, Mikey B, we're going to get to some NBA action with you. The SportsLine pick, I'll keep this one really easy. No analysis from me, but you can catch the analysis on SportsLine on the app. Oilers, minus 130. We're taking them money line tonight. That is the SportsLine pick. Edmonton Oilers, minus 130 money line. And then my pick. I'm going to golf, so this one doesn't tip off until Thursday early evening. We're still in Hawaii at the Sony Open. I'm taking Harry Hall, T30 at plus 125. Side note, I haven't really given out my full outright card, but me and Buckets are aligned on a couple of outrights. If you're on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. But I'll probably drop some outright names on tomorrow's show and maybe some first-round leaders. Harry Hall, though, in the top 30 market, real quick before I get into the analysis, if you don't have the T30 market at your book, go T20 and just drop it to a half a unit. I have no issue whatsoever with that. Or if you want to be more safe, you can go to the T40 market at minus 140 and then just drop whatever you want, maybe a full unit on that. But I like the T30 market in particular in this tournament. Harry Hall has been really good. He was really good last week, kind of got warmed up last week in Hawaii, which not everybody in this tournament did. Bottom line is he's got a really well-rounded game. Short game, I believe he's gained in 11 out of 12, which is going to be important here. Ball striking, he's gained in 6 in a row. A lot of that was during the fall swing where there wasn't a high level of competition, but this is also one of those tournaments. After Hideki Matsuyama and Corey Connors, it's a who's who of kind of like middle-grade golfers. Harry Hall firmly in that middle-grade range. T30 at a plus number. Really, really like it. All right. By the way, I think Harry Hall could potentially win this tournament as a long shot in that 50-1 range. All right, let's go to some NBA. Mikey B, you've got 2 player props. This first one pertains to Mark Williams. I forgot that Mark Williams went to Duke. Did he even play at Duke? Was he one of those guys that came off the bench? I'm not even 100% sure. I don't need you to answer that question, but you have a Mark Williams prop for me.
A lot of people have forgotten about Mark Williams in general because he's been hurt so often. Yep. But there's a reason why we're taking the over here today. So first we're going to do Mark Williams over 8.5 rebounds at minus 120. He has grabbed at least 9 rebounds in 5 of his last 6 games. The one time he didn't during that span, just missed 8 rebounds. The key is he has logged at least 26 minutes in 4 of his last 5 games. He's healthy now, finally. Now, last season, he averaged 27 minutes a game and 9.7 rebounds a game. So he is a great rebounder. What we like here, the Suns have made some changes in their starting lineup, one of which is now they are starting Mason Plumlee at center. Mason Plumlee has started the last 4 games, and the starting center for the other team has grabbed at least 10 rebounds in 3 of those games. What I like here, Sia, is here are the centers. Jaren Jackson Jr., not exactly a great rebounder. Trace Jackson Davis. And last night, Gershon Yabusele had 8 rebounds with Mason Plumlee starting. So we're going to do Mark Williams over 8.5 rebounds. And then we're going to go to the Mavericks-Laker games. We're going to do Najee Marshall over 14.5 points at minus 125. He returned from a 4-game suspension Monday. He started, scored 16 points. What I like, 33 minutes. He took 15 shot attempts. There are minutes and shot attempts up for grabs for him because Luka and Kyrie are currently out with injuries. Daniel Gafford also got hurt yesterday, so he's not going to play probably tonight. There is a clear path for Marshall to play at least 30 minutes in this game. He has played at least 30 minutes in a game 6 times this season. In those 6 games, he averaged 18.3 points. Wow. The Lakers have the 10th worst defensive rating in the league. So let's finish up with Najee Marshall over 14.5 points.
Wow, that is interesting. I got a question from Jeff Stenberg, Mikey B, for you. And then I have a question about a first half money line for you, Tom Casale. But this is, I don't know that this is a left field play, but it's certainly very specific as it pertains to Austin Reeves. The question from Jeff is Austin Reeves over 13.5 assists and rebounds at minus 105. Lakers play tonight at Dallas, 7:40 p.m. I don't believe Kyrie Irving is playing in that game, but nonetheless, Austin Reeves over 13.5 assists and rebounds. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I don't mind taking the over on that. The odds on that are pretty good. Now that D'Angelo Russell is gone, there's some more ball handling responsibilities for Austin Reeves, which is why he's been so productive lately. So I don't mind them taking the over on that at all.
All right. And I want to take the over on the likes on this show every day, not just today. So don't forget when you get into the chat, I should say when you get into this show, hit the like button right away. It certainly helps the show. And make any comments, ask any questions you like, including Tom. Do we like, I mean, I know we like fading Michigan tonight. We like UCLA laying the 2 or as high as 3. Any thoughts on the first half? There was a question about first half money line.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on that. I don't think UCLA is going to blow them out. And with the way they shoot, sometimes they can get bogged down offensively. Because the line is so low, I prefer to take the full game on that. Usually I take a first half if the line is bigger and you're trying to get some value on a team that's going to start fast like an Alabama. That's up to you, but I don't see a ton of value here taking the first half. Again, Michigan making its second trip out west in a row in the last few days. I could actually see them getting worn down a little bit as the game goes on, playing that tough UCLA defense.
You know what that question was all about, Tom? That was an East Coast person who wants to go to sleep around 11 o'clock and doesn't want to wait until 11:58 or 12:05 when this game ends. I totally respect the question and disguising it as a real question, but I like your analysis. Don't force the first half play. Just take Tom's play that he put over on SportsLine. Buckets, I do want to get to you to see if there's any soccer questions, but there was one other thing. Oh, Mark Gillett says, where's the like button? So that's actually a good question. Some of you are watching this on a platform where you might not see the like button right away. It's usually because the chat is obscuring it. So what you have to do is actually X out of the chat. There's a little X, in the sort of the top right cornerish portion of wherever you're watching it. If you hit the X, you'll see the like button like right behind it. Then you hit the like button and then you can hit the chat button and bring the chat right back up. So if you are one of those people that just doesn't have you can't see the like button, it's just because the chat is in the way. X out of it real quick, hit the like button and just bring the chat right back up. Again, super helpful to the show and to the brand. Buckets, any soccer questions to consider here?
I saw a question in the chat asking about Arsenal versus Newcastle, both teams to score and the over. Again, that is a cup game, so we want to wait to lineups. But also, the head-to-head history is rough, guys. Both teams to score has hit once out of the last 13 times these two teams have played, going back to 2019. I know that right now Newcastle is in a very heavy goal-scoring form, but sometimes that head-to-head history, it plays a bit of a mental game. Teams play different when they play teams that historically they don't score against or score against well. So I'd be very, very careful betting that game. Wait till lineups. If Alexander Isak to score or assist is playable, and if he's starting, maybe look at that, but just be careful on some of the bigger names today.
Wow, love that analysis. Mike B, I gotta tell you, before we get to the recap screen, Joe Neuenfeld, he says, Mike Barner looks like your cousin who crushes White Claws at a cookout. Your response, sir?
Yeah, I don't drink White Claws. I don't drink anything. I am a water guy. So if your cousin drinks water, Joe, I'm your man. But no White Claws for me, Joe. Sorry.
All right. Let's see if there's any other questions. Mark Gillett says, "C is the man, like smashed." Okay, so it sounds like Mark Gillett had that issue where the like button wasn't readily seeable, but there you are. I'm glad you figured that one out. Happy to help in that way, obviously, because it helps us as well. Let me see. Rui Hachimura over 16.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Any thoughts there? Well, that'll be our last question before we get to the recap screen. Mikey B.
I don't know. I'm a little nervous about this Lakers Mavericks game tonight because the Mavericks just played yesterday. They have a lot of injuries. This could get ugly in a hurry. One of the reasons why I like Marshall is because he's going to have to play because Dallas is so shorthanded, regardless of the score. But I don't know. I'd be a little nervous. I don't mind the over, but I just be a little nervous.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Lakers favored by 7 in this one, and it looks like it's the juice is kind of even either way, but something to consider there. Mike Barner, big water on the rocks guy confirmed. Respect.
Well,
love that from Mark.
Got to go crazy at the cookout, Sia. You got to go crazy. Get the water on the rocks.
That is good stuff. All right. Japan says Jokic triple-double at plus 170. So if you want to consider that, a lot of smart people in the chat dropping some picks. So always keep that in mind when you're in here. All right, let's take a look at the recap screen before we get out of here. I'm on Harry Hall T30 at plus 125. As you know, golf tournaments don't start until Thursday. This particular one doesn't start till Thursday night because it's out in Hawaii. So you have plenty of time to make this pick. I did say that if for whatever reason you don't have the T30 play, you can play the T20 at a really big plus number, or you can play T40 at around -135, -140. Tonight at 10 o'clock, UCLA -2 versus Michigan. That's from Tom Casale. SportsLine pick, Oilers money line -130 versus the Bruins buckets. All right, here we go. El Dance versus Valencia. Both teams to score at even money. And STVV versus Gank. Gank over 1.5 team total, -110. Mikey B, Mark Williams over 8.5 rebounds at -120, and Najee Marshall over 14.5 points at -125. What a full show. What a great show. Buckets under the weather a little bit. He's always showing up. This guy always shows up and delivers and delivers and delivers some more. Tom Casale is going to be delivering with me at 12 o'clock on CBS Sports Network as we talk NBA, college basketball, college football, NFL wildcard week. We're going to be doing it all for an hour from 12 to 1 on CBS Sports Network. And of course, I can't leave out Mikey B. Mikey B is back with NBA props. I love the smile. I love the picks. I love being Mikey. You're always able to just absorb a question and give an answer, whether it's pro or con, on anybody who has a question in the chat or a pick in the chat. Love this team right here, and we'll have another team tomorrow on the Early Edge. On behalf of Mikey B, Tom Casale, Buckets, and of course, Ben and Debo helping us out on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s. Get used to the name Ben. He is going to be the Early Edge guy operating everything behind the scenes, and he is a great, great dude. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you next time on the Early Edge. We rest our case.